He heals all your iniquities. What's that mean? Every dirty thing you've ever done. Every evil you've ever committed. Every bad thought you've ever thought. All your hates and your resentments. He forgives them all. And when he forgives, that is the part of the process of healing. Because when you have those thoughts, how in the world do you think your body can work harmoniously? All of its infinite, marvelous parts, they're disturbed, agitated. So when you're forgiven for all your iniquity, the next thing in line is he heals all your diseases, and not partially either. He restores your youth. Isn't that wonderful? He restores your youth like an eagle's. I was very impressed to read about a man from Broken Bow, Nebraska. Now, I've been all over the United States, but I've never yet had the privilege, as far as I can recall, of being in Broken Bow. But I'd like to go there sometime because I like the name of the town, Broken Bow. Well, it seems there was a man in Broken Bow who'd made quite a lot of money, but he also had dyspepsia along with it. He had a pain in his stomach about most of the time. He couldn't sleep at night. He was very insecure. And he was the victim of every kind of medication. He took all the health magazines and he read them all. And then he did really, as a result of this, develop ulcers. A very bad case of ulcers. And 3 doctors in Broken Bow told him that unless he got a sound, healthy mind, these ulcers were going to kill him. And they sent him to Chicago, where there was, at that time, according to the story, the greatest ulcer specialist in the United States. And the ulcer specialist put him through all the tests, and he said to him, my friends, you've got to be very careful, because you've got a very bad case. And he said, it's gone so far that nothing can really be done about it. He said, I'm sorry to tell you that you're going to die relatively soon. You've got to be very careful. But even if you are careful, you're going to die. And the man was paying this specialist a good big fee, and he said to him, for the fee, can you tell me when I'm going to die? And the doctor said, well, I would give you about a year if you take good care of yourself. So the man went back to Broken Bow, and he pondered on this fact. And he said to himself, the doctor says if I take good care of myself, I can live a year. Well, he says, is it worth it? Why don't I just live normally for 1 year? And if I die in the year, so what? I'm going to die anyway. So he decided he would take a trip around the world. And he went and he told the doctor about it, and the doctor said, in those days they didn't travel by airplane but by ships. The doctor said, you'll in all likelihood be buried at sea. Well, the man said, I can't be buried at sea because I promised my children I'm going to be buried in Broken Bow. And he says, we got a cemetery plot where the whole family has been buried. I can't be buried at sea. So he bought a casket. And he actually put the casket on board a ship. And he told the captain and the purser of the ship that if he died, put him in this casket, put him in a deep freeze, and when he got back to New York, send him back to Broken Bow. Having taken care of all these exigencies, he proceeded then to enjoy himself. He stayed up late at night. He danced, which he hadn't been doing because that was dangerous since he had a bad heart. He went ashore at every place they came to, ate all the native food, lived it up. and finally went back to Broken Bow and sold the casket back to the undertaker. Now, after all, it is a fact. You've got to use some common sense. But don't use too much of it. Because if you do, you'll become a victim of fear. Go and spend a little time with a little child. They're not afraid of anything except loud noises. And maybe they're afraid of the dark, but if they are, it's because their mothers made them afraid of the dark, or their father. A little child, you know, they just live normally and naturally. And I remember somewhere reading in Christianity that that's what you're to become as a little child. You've got this wonderful life, and you've got a good, healthy body, and you've got a good mind, and therefore don't get it fouled up with a lot of fear and hate and resentment and tension and all these other things that siphon off its good health. You know, the Bible is very wise. For God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So, healthy mindedness is one way in which you need not be afraid of anything. Well, now, I get all kinds of magazines, and somebody sends me a very sophisticated slick paper magazine written in the up with it style called The Avenue. I never paid any money for it, but it's a good magazine, has beautiful pictures in it and great advertisements. And I always read the advertisements. And here's one here from a shop on 57th Street, one of the finest shops in New York City. And here it pictures a machine that has 5 dials on it. And naturally, it has a very sophisticated name. It's called Environmental Sound X. Now, what in the world that means, I would never know. Here's what this machine will do for you. It's a solid-state sound conditioner which promotes sleep and relaxation and relief from stress. It simulates white sound in quotes, for screening out unwanted noises, produces simple breaking wave patterns, random surf effects, simulates rain, producing light or gentle downpour of rain. Also simulates waterfall, conditions the noise around you anywhere. Price $129.95. Now, what they promised for $129.95, we're going to give you this morning for nothing. Or at least whatever you put in the collection plate. Now, you know, I have no doubt at all that that machine will do everything it promises, and I'm half sold on purchasing it. But we don't need that, because we have available to us right this minute the greatest scientist in stress reduction the world ever knew. And he once said, "Peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." already